Hey, good morning, folks, and welcome to Monday's Market Outlook here at TGO. That's Top Gun Options. My name is Matthew Buckley. My call sign is Wiz, and got back late last night, back into the FLA down here in Florida. Was up visiting my son up at Norwich University. Got to watch him play up in Vermont. And then unfortunately, or I guess fortunately, got to drive down to Boston and watch him beat up on Harvard. My big FU of the day goes out to Harvard. It's the second, quote, Ivy League college that my son has played at, Dartmouth being the other one, where they didn't play the national anthem. You're an absolute disgrace. Bunch of limousine liberals. Can't stand you. You're awful, okay? Especially when most of the kids on the Norwich team, I think about just all of them, are in the Corps of Cadets and going to risk their lives to defend this nation. So, F you, Harvard, and glad we beat you 6-3. And actually, even though the scoreboard says 6-3, they called off 3 goals. 3 goals the referee called off. So it should be 9-3, but there's the scoreboard. All right, let's get airborne. Here's a little bit of an FU. Iran films underground city of ballistic missiles in a provocative snub of the United States and the EU. So why am I bringing this up, folks? The president announced that he's meeting with Krimo, some young guy from North Korea in Vietnam. Right? He's going to be meeting with this guy for a second time. There hasn't been one bottle rocket lit off since the president threatened to essentially eliminate the guy, turn him into fire and fury. This is different. Iran is not North Korea. That dude wants to live. These guys really don't care if they live or die. Matter of fact, they don't mind dying and going to see Allah pretty quickly. Iran's going to be on the front burner as soon as the president puts North Korea to bed, and it ain't. And burner is the key word there. This is going to get ugly, so you got to keep an eye on this. Really like what's going on down south. Brazil's new government is promising Wall Street the moon. Brazil is super great right now if you're an investor. And actually, I should put that more of a point on it. If you've been here at TGO, we've been trading Brazil, and check out when we got into the EWZ most recently. Right there, right in front of the ahead of Bolsonaro's runoff election, up 33%. This was what we call a Captain Kirk trade here at Top Gun Options. We were boldly going where nobody else was going. Now everybody's running down to jump into the EWZ because this is the they're calling this guy the Trump of the tropics, Bolsonaro, and he's really a lot of economic reforms he's putting in, a lot of not only economic but judicial reforms, and hell, he's even trying to come up with a Second Amendment down there and saying, hey, what are we going to do about crime? We're going to dig more graves. If you're walking around one of our favelas with a gun and you're not in the you're not a cop or in the army, we're just going to shoot you. I mean, this guy is really talking tough, and at least the Bovespa, the Brazilian stock exchange, is acting like the guy's going to do good. I mean, we bottomed out here, and then we've been on a rip your face off rally with EWZ, and really like that trade. So good stuff going on down there. But this is the futures were up pretty good. We had a solid pop in the futures based on, hey, hope for a trade deal. It sounds like the president has invited Xi down here right up the street in the middle of March for a little bit of a powwow. And hopefully that's a signing and ending the trade war. And we have a nice trade we're going to debrief at 1 o'clock today on FXI, Foxtrot X-Ray India. That's the iShares Large Cap China ETF, up another almost 0.75% right now. Look at this. Since we stopped getting bearish on FXI, this thing's seen a nice rally and just seems to be going higher. So we have a nice, what we called a burner trade. We placed this last Monday. A bull put spread with some upside calls out to the middle of March on hopes for a potential trade deal. So there you go. U.S. stocks rise as investors focus on trade talks. Dow's negative right now. We're kind of just flopping around here waiting. And as I talked about last week, this in between these moving averages is something I call no man's land. So we kind of hovered around this 50-day moving average on the S&P 500, ripped higher, and then, as I predicted last week, that this 200-day moving average was actually going to be resistance. We've come way too far, way too fast, and we need to see a little bit of a consolidation here. And I think that's what's going to happen this week, especially with a lot of big events on the flight schedule. German GDP. Why do we care about German's GDP, Wiz? Because we do. It's an overall sign. Germany's a huge, obviously, economic machine over in Europe and in the globe. And if they're slowing down, it doesn't bode well for everybody else. We got some inflation numbers here, and also Mnuchin and a lot of our heavies, I think they're already there, or they're on a plane right now heading over to China. about to talk about trade, and we have, of course, another potential clown car here in the United States with another government shutdown. The president tweeting out this morning essentially that we're not even close, and not only have the Democrats not come seriously, they're actually just their latest offer is like open borders, and they've gone in the other direction. I think they're forcing the president in to smoke him out, just like he did on the State of the Union. One side is for killing kids right after they're born and open borders and socialism, and the other side isn't. So I think the president's either going to use just reallocate money from the Department of Homeland Security or Defense. Yeah, real quick question. This is rhetorical since you can't answer it. What does an army do? What's our army do? And it's funny because, talking to some people this weekend, first of all, Army's not shouldn't be overseas, doing all this stuff. But obviously, I'd rather fight our potential enemies over there than here. But at its very core, what does an army do? Well, it's supposed to defend your country from invasion. Oh, that's what our army's supposed to do. Then why aren't we using it to do that? It's funny that these people freak out that the president's using, sending troops to the border. It's an invasion, folks. I just saw that mumps and some they quarantined some dude in a recent caravan. He's got like some infectious disease. Why don't we just? I'm all for building a small wall. Let's build a small tunnel, sending all these people to San Francisco, Chicago, and New York. Why don't we do that? Why don't we send all these the open borders folks to these cities? And let's see what happens. Give us a call. Actually, don't give us a call in a couple of years and let us know how it's going. This is turning into a shit show, folks. Amazon. This has been my love for the past year and a half. Amazon. We got to talk this week about this, folks. They're just tawdry tabloid crap. I mean, they're literally. Don't get me wrong. How Amazon gets whatever they want. They're taking over the government. They're getting into DoD. Since Google jumped out of a Pentagon contract like 2 months. Was it 2 months ago? Google, we don't want this Pentagon contract because the Pentagon is not aligned with our values. What? Okay, well, guess what Jeff Bezos does? Money is aligned with my values and Amazon, so we're going to take it. But this is really tawdry and doesn't help Amazon's image. But at the end of the day, the dude does whatever he wants to do, and he's just taking over the world. So I'm bullish on Amazon, but it's turning into a hold your nose trade. I'm not digging it too much. So. All right, so interesting week ahead. Like I said, a lot of macroeconomic data around the globe and here in the United States. What's going on Tuesday? Let's take a Tuesday small business index, the JOLTS job. Oh, this will be a good one. The jobs opening. Hey, how many? Right now it seems like there are more jobs available in the United States than there are people willing to work. And don't even get me started on that idiot from New York, AOC's Green New Deal, which is actually going to pay people not to work who don't want to find work. Isn't that awesome? Now, they deleted that off the website and stuff like that, and they're actually saying, oh, we never said that. But people have screenshots of it. How stupid. And the Fed, actually, I forgot about this. We're going to see the Fed chiefs speaking today, a speech entitled Economic Development in High Poverty Rural Communities. So it's a prepared speech. And this guy does pretty good with prepared speeches, but he might say something off the cuff that the market might react to. As I said, we get some inflation numbers on Wednesday, and the federal budget balance. Oh, that's going to be embarrassing to see what that is, especially with a potential shutdown coming up. This will be a potential market mover later in the week as well. Core retail sales. Remember, whenever you see the word core, it means X something, excluding something. And in this case, X automobiles, and then obviously regular retail sales. We're going to see how Christmas was right now. Formally, obviously, we had earnings out of the retailers that were kind of Goldilocks, not super hot, not super cold, but this will be the government's number on how we did. And then on Friday, we get the Empire State Manufacturing Index, some import prices, the cap rate, industrial production, and preliminary University of Michigan consumer sentiment and inflation expectations. So pretty big week as far as macroeconomic data. So as I predicted last week, we were going to hit this 200-day moving average. We weren't going to, if we were going to rip through it, we were going to come back to it. But I said most likely this is going to be resistance. And if, I'll say it once again, markets don't like living in this kind of no man's land-ish area. So I think if, unless we get some, just shocking great news on trade and rip higher, we're going to probably head back down to this 50-day moving average. Okay. All right. I'll see many of you. We're going to do a joint brief today at 1 o'clock. We're going to do weekly options and the primary live trade brief, because Tuesday I got to head back down to Miami. Wednesday is a normal accelerated retirement, and then Thursday, analyze your trade and debrief. Remember, if you have coaching scheduled this week, or we haven't talked about coaching this week and you're up, make sure you shoot me an email today before my calendar gets full. Okay? Have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, and God bless. We'll see you.